Let's bring in our next guest from Angels of Grace, Lisa Casarez.
Hey, Chuck.
Hello, how are you?
I'm blessed.
Always
Thank
good to see you. I've known
Oh.
Lisa since I was 14 years old,
Amen.
and it's so great to see you doing such big things here in the city of Fresno.
You're like that girl. You're stuck at that age because you're just like, you look great, Chuck. You'll never know that we're as old as we are.
I try. For the people at home that don't know, Lisa Casarez, Mother of the Year in 2013.
Right.
2013, but not your normal Mother of the Year. You're the Mother of the Year because you run a foster agency.
I do. I have the privilege of running and being the founder of Angels of Grace foster family agency, and I get to be the mother to hundreds and hundreds of children that are coming out of abuse and neglect. And so I have the privilege of being on call alongside Child Protective Services 24 hours a day, which is an amazing calling. And we were just sharing about how beautiful our life is when we have humans that are connected to us, especially children. And
that depend on you.
That depend on you. They're so vulnerable at such a small, tender age, fragile. And sometimes we need to come alongside the parents because the parents are not in their happy place. They're not in a place where they can be the parents that they're created to be. So we come alongside them, and our goal is to help them and help to inspire them and many times get the help that they need so that they can parent their children. It's such a short journey that we have with our children. It's not a very long one, and you were just sharing you just had a baby, and before you know it, they're walking, they're crawling. And it's not so much what we say as parents, but what we do and the environment that we create and establish for our children. And they're like little sponges, they're soaking everything up.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, Lisa, because I had someone on the show recently that pretty much thought that bad kids were born bad kids. And I just don't buy into that.
No,
I think bad kids come from bad situations.
I have to agree with you. I always think about this little boy that I had. He came to me, he was only 5 years old, and he had a ruptured intestine because his father had kicked him in the stomach. So when I got him, he was coming out of the hospital, and I was taking him, and I always ask the children, may I hug you before I do, because some of them have been sexually abused, and you have to be careful with boundaries.
Right.
And so I'll say, hi, my name is Lisa, and after I've given them a teddy bear, and I've given them a little ring pop and tell them that they're royalty and that this is just a little bump in the road, they're going to get over it, and we're here to help, and basically establish rapport with the child is what that's my goal. And this one child, I did that. He'd just come out of the hospital, and I said, can I hug you? And he looked at me with that look, and as I went to, he said he went like, and I started to go towards him, and he punched me in the stomach. And I went, oh, and he goes, that's how my dad hits me. And I looked at him, and oh my God, Chuck, I wanted just to die because he hit me hard. And my staff just looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said, I am so sorry that your dad did that to you because that hurts so much. And no human should do that to another human. So I am so sorry that your dad did that to you. And he looked at me with his little eyes, and he just kind of, that child is now an adolescent. He's grown up. I still keep contact with his family. He was adopted, and his whole life changed. It's amazing what one situation you can turn it. If I would have turned around and said something negative, I believe, or made him feel guilty for that, but I was able to connect with his pain, and it was painful, and didn't react. I responded in love. And that's what we're here to do as humans. We every day you have a choice. Am I going to do the right thing or the wrong thing? We never arrive on this journey. It's an everyday situation. And when we have children, we have to be mindful of that, and we have to respond and not react. And that's what our goal is with in working. I'm a social worker working as a therapist, working with Child Protective Services. That the parents that we get, I've never had a mom that didn't love her children. But you get drugs in there, you get domestic violence, you get all this stuff involved, and it turns into a toxic situation. So our job is to go in there and detoxify these situations in their lives so that they can be all that they were created to be, so that they can love the way you're supposed to love. It's all about human connection. It's all about making a difference in the world, one child at a time, one person at a time, and being mindful that your environment you create, you are what you are, you bring you wherever you go. So sometimes I go into those places that are dark, and I can either go in there and get consumed by the darkness, or I have to go in there and try to be the light. And that comes from my faith. I believe God has put me here to do that. And there's a lot of people that say, well, what can I do? How can I make a difference in the lives of these children or people? And we can. We have to be mindful. And sometimes it's just smiling at somebody. And that's just enough to keep them going. Or like these women, as I'm receiving and taking their children, I will tell them, this is just a bump in the road. I'm here for you. And whatever I can do to let them know. And then I ask, is it okay? Let the child know that they're going to come with me. And the mom is still in a position of power. She's giving them permission to come. And we're here to help. We're here to come alongside these human beings that are needing a little bit of help. And you know my story, Chuck. I mean, I came out of the Marjorie Mason Center pregnant with 2 kids. That was my story. And I don't believe God let me waste that hurt in my life. I have a lot of compassion because I've been there. And you can pull people out of the pit that you've been pulled out of, one person at a time. And it's a moment of every day I get up and how can I pay this forward? And it's you have to be intentional. So I'm really proud of the fact that Angels of Grace is an agency here in town. A lot of kids that I receive I only have for 2 days because I go in and we pull them out during those emergency situations when there might be domestic violence or drugs and I've had the privilege and the honor of following some of my families, throughout the years, and a lot of them get it together and they get their children back and they bring them to visit me and they're doing well, and we were there to help set the foundation for their life, just as someone said it for me.
That's the ultimate, isn't it?
It is, because you can't buy that. That's something that one human being can do for another human being, and you can't manipulate it. You can't make it. Just happens because we've been here to create light, to be connected, and to make life better. And as you were sharing with your daughter, it's a human. This is a human being, and we're here to help each other on this journey. And it's a beautiful journey. Regardless of how dark it looks, sometimes we can just choose to get up every day and try to make a difference. So those of you that are interested in becoming foster parents, that's really the big need I have right now, is finding good people that can rescue these children where they can go and stay in their home, many of them for only 2 days, and then we come alongside the parent. And really what happens is that after the 2 days, they have a team decision-making meeting, and then the county will call everybody around the table that can make a difference for this child, the grandparents, the aunt, the uncle, while we get and provide services for this family. Either it can be drug rehabilitation program, domestic violence, whatever counseling, whatever services that they need.
Sometimes it's all the above, right?
Right. And you know what? By the grace of God, there be I. Because if somebody would have given me drugs when I was going through my madness and my hurt and hang-up, instead of my faith in God, it would have been real easy to stop the pain by, and that's exactly what the darkness wants you to do. The enemy wants you to go into that dark place so that you're stuck and you're paralyzed and you can't be a
it's easy
service.
To get there.
Oh, it's easy. And we're human because we go with our emotions. So, I go in there, I tell my staff, and as I see the county workers and even the law enforcement, we're not here to judge people. We're here to love people and we're here to see how we can make a difference. Some people, they choose not to receive the blessing, then that's on them. But we need to at least be here to offer it to them so that their children can benefit, so that this cycle can be broken like it was for this little boy that, never again hit anybody, never again. I'm sure it was a lot of intensive therapy, a lot of evaluating his journey and being sensitive to his, can you imagine having your intestine ruptured at that age?
Sometimes it just takes some love, doesn't it?
It always takes love, no matter what. I think love is the greatest formula in this world, and it's not always going to be reciprocated, but then you got to really pray for those people that can't receive it.
People at home that are watching that have clothing, blankets, toys,
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff that you need.
We would love to receive it. We have a clothing closet, which is a blessing to everybody, and to not just kids that are placed with us, but the kids that are coming in through the county. We get them out of meth labs. We get them severely neglected. Babies,
with no clothes,
or diapers that they've been there for days and they're soiled and and they come full of lice because a lot of them have lice, so we have to treat them. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to really go in there and clean them up and love on them and make them feel good about themselves. Once you clean up the outside, then you can start working on the inside, and that kind of will set the stage for their life. You're either going to be in therapy for the rest of their life and say, oh my God, this is like the worst thing, or you can say, you know what, and then this person came in, just like somebody did for me when I was coming out of my darkness. The Marjorie Mason Center, they put shoes on my feet. They hugged me and told me that I was going to be okay, that I had value, that I had worth, this was not my fault. And it took another human being to seed that into my spirit, and now I get to go back and pay it forward every time I pick up a child, I tell them, this is not your fault. You're worthy. This is just a little bump in the road. And it kind of, and then they look at you like, well, you must know what you're talking about. And you believe enough for both of us until they can start believing for themselves. And then they grow up and they become social workers, or they go out and do what God's called them to do. It's really an amazing journey when you get to follow them as they grow up. I have one young lady that I got her at 7 years old. She's a CIA agent for the United States of America.
Nice.
One of my babies. Not just one. I have so many other great stories. It's just amazing what humans can do for each other.
You know, Lisa, if I ever get dumb and start feeling down bad about myself, all I got to do is talk to you for a couple minutes, and I feel
I feel
better.
the same way about you, Chuck.
I
You
love
have
you,
great
Lisa
energy.
Casarez.
I love you, Chuck.
Okay, thank you for everything
Thank
you do for the kids of Fresno.
We do it together.
Okay, Angels of Grace. If you have any of those donations, they're right on the corner of
Alhambra and Van Ness.
Alhambra and Van Ness, the big White House right
That's
there. Go there and donate to them. It's a good organization to donate to. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break.